This video is sponsored by and available on ProtoPlay, an alternative video hosting platform focusing on creative freedom for both content creators and viewers alike. Check it out with the link in the description below, or feel free to grab the app found on Apple and Android devices. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Combat Tips. Today's tutorial is going to be featuring the lone wolf and one-man army known as Rambo. Should any of you be here for something in particular, feel free to hop on down to either the description or the comments where you can find timestamps to let you skip to any of the brutalities I feature in today's tutorial. Should there be any button sequences I use in today's video that don't entirely make sense to you, feel free to use this little guide right here, and that will allow you to convert any of the inputs I use onto any platform currently hosting Mortal Kombat 11. As is classic with these tutorials, we're over here on the cosmetic screen, and that is to show you that as of this tutorial's release date, I currently have all 25 out of 25 finishers, which means today's tutorial is going to be featuring 11 different brutalities. Naturally, I'll be starting off with the Classic, but again, if you're here for something in particular, hop on down below to either the description, the comments, or the timeline. You can find timestamps to let you skip to any of today's featured brutalities. Let's get started. Alright, so kicking things off with the Classic. First off, if you're going to go for this brutality, you want to make sure that you do not block an attack during the final round. And just to clarify, the final round is whichever round you as a player are going to be victorious on. So that can be round 2 or 3, just whichever one you are going to be winning on. Next up, you want to make sure that you finish your opponent with an uppercut. And while you're performing that uppercut, you're going to want to hold either Y or triangle, whichever respective controller you have. So let's hop into our example. So an uppercut, classic move, down Y, down triangle, and it should look, boom, just like that. One more time, down Y, down triangle, and pop. There is your Rambo uppercut. So here's a little clarification for some of you. As you can see, I'm on round 2 here. This is going to be my victorious round, and as you can see, boom, I've hit the block button here, and that is okay, because I've not taken damage. Why am I clarifying this? Just because sometimes it's very instinctual to want to hit that block button, and if you happen to do it, as long as you can let go and not take damage while you have blocked, you can still do this brutality. So here we go, folks, moving in for that final strike. Again, boom, if you happen to be instinctual, that's okay, so long as you don't take damage while you're blocking. And remember, you want to finish your opponent with an uppercut, down Y, down triangle, and make sure to hold either Y or triangle while doing that uppercut. Let's go for it. And pop. I mean, what else can I say? It's the classic uppercut finisher. There we have it, folks. Next up, we have the silence brutality. Now this one's going to ask that you finish your opponent with a towards throw. And while that towards throw is happening, you're going to want to push forward 3 times. But if you ask me, just spam forward. It's the best way to guarantee these types of brutalities work. Onto our example. So right out of the gate, if you push L1 or left button, boom, you're gonna get a back throw by default. In our case, we want a towards throw. So we're gonna be moving towards the opponent when we do this, and again, push L1, left button while moving towards them, and boom. This is the animation we're looking for, like so. One more time, be moving towards the opponent, grab them, and that's what we want right there. Easy. Naturally, if you prefer the arcade style inputs, you can also use X and A or square and X at the same time while pushing forward, and as you can see, boom, so you will still get your towards throw. Simple. Alright folks, let's move in for the final strike here. Again, you just want to finish your opponent with a towards throw, and while that's happening, push forward at least 3 times. If you ask me, just spam forward. It's the best way to guarantee it. Let's go for it. Towards throw, just spamming that forward. Just spamming it. And boom. Silenced indeed. I mean, this one isn't too crazy, but I love the simplicity of it, to be honest. Rambo is definitely one of my favorite additions on the guest roster, so you may see a little favoritism in this tutorial. Next up is the target practice brutality, and it is going to require that you have the snare trap ability in your arsenal, so as usual, make sure that's set up before we proceed. When it comes to performing the move, all you have to do is finish your opponent with the snare trap ability, and while that's happening, make sure to push down. Let's hop into the example. So to get this snare ability off, you want to do down back A or down back X, and it should look whack, just like that. Alright folks, let's end it. Down back A, down back X for the snare trap, and just make sure to hold down during this animation. Let's go for it. Boom. Woo! Oh! Oh man, and it doesn't end there. There you go, you get to see the fruits of your labor after all that. God damn. Definitely a very, very good brutality. Nice and unique. And what can I say? It fits Rambo's flair. On to the next one, folks. Next up, we have the splitting headache brutality, and it's going to require that you have the commando abilities set up in your arsenal. So as usual, get that good to go, and we can proceed. From there, you're going to want to finish your opponent with the nothing is over combo, and while that animation is playing out, mash either X and Y or square and triangle. Let's hop into our example. So the nothing is over combo consists of two simple parts. First, we're going to want to do back A or back X, and that'll give you, boom, that simple kick right there. Next, you want to transition into the second half, and that's going to be X and A at the same time, or square and X at the same time. So here we go, boom, and boom. Oh. Very brutal. So there we go, folks. Again, that's very simple, and it should, again, look just like that. Not too hard. Very easy combo. So this is just some clarification that I like to go over whenever I talk about any brutalities that ask you to mash X and Y or square and triangle, and that is simply that I like to take my controller, take these two fingers, place them on my respective buttons, and mash them like so. I find just having both fingers working at once makes it a lot easier. Some people might prefer to go with the thumb back and forth, but if you want a guaranteed way to make this work, I recommend two fingers, boom, then you know you're getting both at once. Simple. Alright folks, let's move in for the final strike here. Again, you just want to finish your opponent with the nothing is over combo, and while that's happening, mash either square and triangle or X and Y. Let's go for it. Boom, boom, and here I am mashing. Oh, ooh, and a knife sandwich. Oh. Woo. So when it comes to head splitting, this is nothing too new, but because that this particular brutality is woven into this combo, I'm a big fan of it because this is actually my main played variation for Rambo. So I use this a lot, and it's a great combo to kind of catch people with when they're falling out of the air. It's also, because it's a low, it's a very good way to sneak in and kind of, you know, hit them on the legs and then, boom, finish them off with that knife. Big fan, personally. On to the next one. Next up is the Watch Your Step brutality, and it is going to require that you have the Claymore ability set up, so just make sure you have that good to go. As for the requirements, it does not get any more straightforward than this. Simply make sure your final hit comes from the Claymore. Let's give an example. Now the Claymore works more like a trap as opposed to, say, a projectile or direct hit. So that's going to be down back A or down back X, and boom, we've gone and planted it. And next, we just want to wait for our opponent to approach it, and pop. As you can see, once they get up in there, it's gonna go off. It should be noted that you can be hurt by your own Claymore, so after that's set up, make sure you don't get too close or pop. You leave yourself up in the air and vulnerable to combos. Furthermore, if you guys decide to push R1 or right button after putting down this Claymore like so, you can actually hide it, and the enemy might have a harder time remembering where that was set down, and boom, still have a good chance of them getting tripped up by it. Let's strike our opponent down here, folks. Again, very straightforward. Just finish your opponent with a Claymore. Down back A, down back X. Let's go for it. Boom. And now we just get him to walk into it. Pop. What I like about this is that it does not just completely obliterate them. It actually does leave the torso behind without the, you know, more important appendages. So, I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. It's not just a traditional gore explosion, because that's super common, as you may see with another one of Rambo's brutalities down the line. Next up is the Spray and Pray brutality, and it is going to require that you have the hidden M60 ability. So, as usual, make sure that is good to go. So for the final hit of this brutality, you want it to come from an amplified, hidden M60, and while that animation is playing out, you want to hold forward. Alright, so let's hop into our example right now. So the hidden M60 is going to be down back Y or down back triangle, and it should look pop, just like that. We of course want the enhanced version of this ability, so after you push down back Y or down back triangle, make sure to tap R1 or right button, and as you can see, pop, we got the double hidden M60s there. Let's end this, folks. Remember, you want to finish your opponent with that amplified, hit an M60, down back Y right button, or down back triangle R1, and while that's happening, hold forward. Let's go for it. Ooh. I love the little pop of the head at the end. I mean, this perfectly works. I mean, it is definitely a very good callback to the movies of just him dual wielding all of those machine guns and going full one-man army. I approve. Once again, I love Rambo in this game. I'm a big fan. Next up is the Stomach Pains Brutality, and it is going to require that you have the foobar ability in your arsenal, so once again, make sure that's good to go. As for the execution, you want to make sure that the final hit comes from an amplified foobar, and while that's happening, they suggest you push down 3 times. However, as usual, I suggest you spam down, especially with this brutality, because you need to be super, super quick, so just spam down as fast as you can with this brutality. But let's hop into our example to give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. Now, starting off, to perform a foobar, you want to do down, back, forward X, or down, back, forward square, and it should look, boom, just like that. Grab them, and a little quick jab to the gut. One more time. Boom, just like that, folks. Now, naturally, we're looking to use the enhanced version of this ability, so that's going to require that after you do down, back, forward X, or down, back, forward square, you tap R1 or right button, and you should get those 2 extra jabs and whoop, that gut tear. One more time. Oh, such a brutal move, but that's what you want. So because I happen to use Rambo a lot, here is an extra tip for getting that foobar off. If you choose to use the No More Prisoner of War combo, back YYX or back triangle triangle square, it should look boom, just like that. And then if you immediately punch in the foobar combo right after that, back forward square or back forward X, you will actually get a really meaty combo. Let's go for it. Oh. So there we go, 250 damage, or a whole quarter of their health. And again, it's just a great way to get this foobar off. Let's try it one more time. And there we have it, folks. Oh, such a good combo. I really like that one. But it's not necessary to do the brutality, but if you want a great way to get the foobar off, just a suggestion. Alright folks, moving in for the final strike here. Remember, you want to use that amplified foobar, and while that's happening, push down 3 times super quickly. If you ask me, just spam down as rapidly as you can, because the window to perform this brutality is super, super tiny compared to most brutalities. Okay, so amplified foobar, spam down as quickly as you can. Let's go for it. Oh. Well, that's definitely how you cut someone in two. Jesus. Like I said, folks, with this brutality, make sure you spam down very, very quickly. I had trouble getting this one originally. I thought maybe there were inputs I wasn't doing or hidden material or requirements. No, you just have to push down so quickly. Practice it, get used to it, but it's definitely possible. On to the next one. Next up, we have the Buried Alive Brutality. Now this one's going to require that you finish your opponent with a back throw, and while that is happening, you want to hold in the back direction. Now this can be a little bit confusing because during that actual animation, Rambo's directional back changes, so I think this one is best explained through an example. Let's hop into it. So naturally, a back throw is L1 or left button. So here we go. Boom. And that is our back throw. Very straightforward. Now, as mentioned, you're going to have to hold back to make sure this brutality works. However, you're going to want to hold that after Rambo has transitioned to the other side of his opponent. Not when he starts, but when he transitions. So naturally, you would expect to hold back now, but in reality, we want to hold back now. That would be to the right for this brutality. Not to the left where we start, but to the right. And again, if we're starting from the right, we would want to hold it now to the left, because that is where our back is facing. So keep in mind, again, you don't want to hold back from where you start with this brutality, but where you finish. Here we go, folks, moving in for the final strike. Remember, finish your opponent with a back throw, and while that is happening, you also want to push back, but only after Rambo has moved to the other side. So in my case, back is going to be to the right, and not to the left where I'm starting. Here we go, doing my back throw, holding right. Oh, cut the throat. And a fancy finish. Whew. I love that animation. I mean, Rambo's full of such beautiful and stylized brutalities in this game. They did a really, really good job on him. And the fact that they brought back Sylvester Stallone to actually get the voice going, woo, primo character here. Next up, we have the Target Destroyed Brutality, and this one will require that you have the Artillery Strike in your arsenal, so as usual, make sure that's good to go. When it comes to carrying out this brutality, all you have to do is finish your opponent with that Artillery Strike and hold either X or square on your respective controller. Let's hop into the example. So for the Artillery Strike, you want to do back forward Y or back forward triangle, and that should look pop. Just like that. Now, it should be noted that, of course, you can adjust the impact site of this Artillery Strike. So if we just do the normal back forward Y, as you can see, that's going to go about medium distance. But if we do back forward Y, and then in my direction, back forward Y left, as you can see, it is closer. And if we do back forward Y right, it is much farther and can hit the opponent. So just keep that in mind. You can control where this strike happens if you need to. Alright folks, let's move in for the final hit here. Remember, you just want to finish him with that Artillery Strike, back forward Y or back forward triangle, and while that is happening, make sure to hold either X or square on your respective controller. Let's go for it. Holding square, oh, and pop. I think I mentioned earlier, nothing too crazy here. We've seen gore explosions before, but when it comes to variety, I'm always open to more brutalities being able to transition into that brutality type of existence, especially if we can see some X-rays doing this in the future, or I guess fatal blows as they're referred to in this game. On to the next one. Next up is the Bullseye Brutality, and this one's pretty straightforward. All you want to do is finish off your opponent with the hunting bow, and while that's happening, hold back. Let's hop in and show you. So right out of the gate, down back Y, down back triangle, that should get your hunting bow going. And pop, like so. One more time. Easy. Now, it should be noted that you can delay this ability should you hold the button that you activated it with. So down back Y or down back triangle, make sure to hold Y or triangle, and as you can see, boom, I hold onto the bow until I choose to let go. Additionally, if I get into the stance and put my finger right back down on Y or triangle after I've shot an arrow, as you can see, we'll get one ready, off on, off on, off on. You can shoot up to 3 arrows super quickly and consistently, so it's a great way to kind of just get off a couple projectiles if you're trying to pin your opponent down. It's also worth noting that if you push down very quickly while you have the bow out, you can, boom, put it away without actually firing an arrow. Here we go, folks. Let's finish off that opponent with the hunting bow. Down back Y or down back triangle, and make sure to hold the back direction during this animation. Here we go. Oh, pop. Nothing crazy. We definitely have a few characters who have, impaling projectiles like this. But as I've said, I'm always open to having more variety with our moves. Whenever we can get off more brutalities with the same character by using variations of different abilities, it's a winner in my book. On to the next one. So last, but certainly not least for today's tutorial, is going to be the Trapped Brutality. Now this one will require that you have the Mace Trap ability, so as usual, please do make sure that it's good to go. Performing the brutality is very straightforward. You just want to finish your opponent with the Mace Trap, and while that animation is playing out, hold down. Let's hop into the example. So the Mace Trap is going to be down back B or down back circle, and as you can see, pop. There we have it. Now, like some other moves, this one can also have its direction modified. So as you can see, we'll do down back B, down back circle, and we're just too far. So after we do down back B, down back circle, hold forward, and as you can see, boom. It is now extended out there and hit our opponent. Just something to keep in mind. Alright everybody, moving in for the final strike here. Again, you just want to finish your opponent with that Mace Trap, down back B, down back circle, and while that's happening, hold in the down direction. Let's go for it. Holding down. Oh, rips through them, and the best part, little cherry on top, if you will. We get a nice little look at the Mace Trap there with our opponent's head stuck on top of it. A great way to finish, if you ask me. Let's move on to our closing words. Alright everybody, so once again, we are wrapping up yet another tutorial. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Rambo is absolutely one of my all-time favorite additions to the Mortal Kombat franchise, in terms of guest characters, of course. So, I don't know, I was really happy to see him in there, and I wasn't even expecting him to be as good as he was, but if you ask me, I'm a huge fan of both his style and just variety in terms of gameplay. As mentioned at the start, folks, this video is sponsored by ProtoPlay, so if you want to check it out, down below in the description, you can find a link to my ProtoPlay channel where all future Mortal Kombat videos will be archived just in case anything bad ever happens to them over here on YouTube. Feel free to check it out. You'd be doing me a great service, you'd be doing the company a great service, and it costs nothing but a little bit of your time. If you guys enjoyed what you saw here today, feel free to let me know down below, either in the form of a like or a comment, and should you happen to be new to the channel but want to see more content like this in the future, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can find out exactly when more content like this goes live. That's going to wrap it up for today, folks, but as usual, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and until next time, remember, as always, stay safe and stay happy. Adios.